Route 66. If you ever plan to motor west, travel highway, take the highway, it's the best. Keep your kicks on Route 66.
Route 66, conceived in 1926, stretching from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles, California, became a lifeline for the migrants escaping the Dust Bowl and the Depression, searching for a new and better life in the golden hills of California. In part one of our series on Route 66, we traveled Illinois and Missouri. We saw some great sights, lots of nostalgia, and of course, we were able to see the wonderful giants along Route 66, including Abe Lincoln, this hot dog wielding Paul Bunyan, and the ever-present hillbilly in the Ozarks trying to get you into his trading post. And the strangest thing we saw along the route was this aerial manure spreader, lovingly called the crap duster. But also along the way, we started to begin to understand and appreciate the significance of this highway to the history of the United States and why it gained such mythical status. It really is a story of America, and one that we can't wait to share with you as we go through.
And when you're on the road, any overlander will tell you that there comes a time, if you travel enough, that you need a hand, you need some help. And when that time comes, it's great to have a friend like Tow Mater. He's here waiting for his next call out, and as some of his friends are hanging out with him. So I guess Kansas is a place where Tow calls home. We're coming up on a pretty unique feature. This is a Marsh Arch Bridge. It was one of 3 in Kansas on Route 66, named after Marsh, who designed them. This is the last one remaining. The other 2 have been demolished, and this one was saved through a preservation effort. So we took a little side trip just to go over this bridge. Hey baby, you need a ride? I guess not. We stopped really quickly, had a really interesting part of this old road. And this is actually original road from the 1926 Route 66. And it's a really quite an interesting section because this actually had curves. It was 9 foot wide. This is the only remaining section of it. 9 foot wide, curved on both sides, and ran from Miami to Afton, Oklahoma. All right, when the guidebook tells me there's a bridge built in 1926, is all metal, has a 3-ton weight limit, I've got to go over it. They just don't build them like this anymore. Thank God. Okay, we have reached one of the most iconic of the roadside attractions on Route 66. Come check it out. Now, we've seen this one before when we lived in Tulsa, but it has been, I understand, refurbished. So let's have a look at the Blue Whale of Catoosa. Now, if you've looked at Route 66 ever, you've probably come across this beauty. The story behind this is a wealthy individual and his wife. She loved whales. So she would always buy little whale trinkets and statues and things like that. So as a surprise gift to her, he created the blue whale on his property and gave this to her. And any Route 66 book that you see always has a picture of the blue whale. So we had to come check it out for ourselves. So not only was this a roadside attraction for people to stop and have a snack and relax, it's an active swimming hole, or at least it was in its day. If you notice the fins for the whale, those are actually slides for the kids. Here are some spots you can climb out of the water. Just make sure that when you're in that water, these turtles that are swimming around, you don't run into a snapper, because you want all your fingers and toes when you come back out. As we're going through Tulsa, we've got an oil refinery on the left side of the road. And at this point in time, if you want to drive Route 66, you gotta have those babies. So classic Oklahoma, there are tornado warnings and thunderstorms rolling through with the likelihood of large hail. Fingers are crossed here. Yes, night 2 of our overland Corvette trip on Route 66. And where are we? We're in the Hilton Garden Inn with a beer in our hand. Now there's a reason for that. Travel on Route 66 is much slower than I expected. So we were going to get to the campsite well after dark. Now that is not a deal breaker in any way, shape, or form. But when you combine that with being smack dab in the middle of multiple tornado warnings, thunderstorm warnings with likely large hail, it kind of put a kibosh on our desire to camp out in the woods. So we're sitting in Oklahoma City, watching the weather and lightning and enjoying Budweiser. All right. After a night of unexpected thunderstorms and tornadoes, we are back on Route 66 heading west, and we're now going over the historic Lake Overholser Bridge, which was, if you have an astute eye, featured in the movie The Grapes of Wrath with Henry Fonda. So this road became a lifeline to the people escaping the Dust Bowl in the 30s, heading out to California. So if you're in the market for the most unique house in the neighborhood and you love sunshine and lots of windows, I think this design is what you should be shooting for. All you need is a fancy old school bus and a big old steel shed. You've got yourself one unique L-shaped house. We're just west of El Reno, and we're turning past Old Fort Reno, and here we have a section of road, a very brief section of road. It's the old curved highway. This is so cool to see. We're not exactly sure why they would have done that, but this is the way the road was for a long stretch in the old days.
businesses along the route survived. This one has seen some better days.
We made a quick stop at a place called Lucille's in Hydro, Oklahoma. Now, Lucille's was originally built in 1927, and Lucille and her husband bought it in 1941. And one of the unique aspects of these old gas stations along Route 66 is that they have the business downstairs, and upstairs was the living quarters. So they actually lived at their gas station, and we've seen a lot of that along this road. But you can see how close the highway is to the old one, and yet it devastated this business. But one thing you can rest assured is that the American entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well, and in 2006 the new Lucille's opened up just down the road. This new Lucille's was designed to look like the old one, including gas pumps out front. So if you're ever driving down the road and you want to stop for a good lunch, Lucille sounds like the place. We're at kind of a special part of the road here, and this isn't on the official Route 66 because it's a dead end down the road. But according to the guidebook, this small 3-mile section has this 1-mile section here. And this is, according to the book, the original asphalt or the original Portland cement from 1931. So this is original rare road service on Route 66. But you have to have the guidebook to find it. You wouldn't see this. It is just east of Canute. You have some of the original curbing up here from the old road. I don't know why this isn't marked as part of the official Route 66 now, but according to the guidebook, like I said, this is an old section with original concrete from 1931. So that's pretty special to be able to drive on a road that old on such a historic road.
Historic bumpy road.
Yes, historic bumpy road. I will say, whoever is in charge in Oklahoma of maintaining this section of road from El Reno to here, please stop just slapping down huge chunks of asphalt and walking away. Try to smooth it out a little before you move on.
Stop in Elk City, Oklahoma to see one of the tallest oil derricks in the world. This one clocks in at 179 feet tall.
Got another old bridge called the Timber Creek Bridge. It is on the endangered list, which I suspect means that they're not going to do much repair to keep it going. This is narrow. I would hate to paint a semi on this thing. I guess I'm not sure how big semis were back in 1931, but clearly if they expected two to get across this bridge in opposite directions, they weren't the size they are today. Okay, we're coming up on another one of the landmarks along Route 66 that was featured in the movie Grapes of Wrath. This is the Beckham County Courthouse in Sayre, Oklahoma. I can tell you, after driving on this road, we are definitely going to get that movie and watch it when we get home.
Note the original roadbed for Route 66 off to the right.
This is an interesting place, don't you think?
For sure.
Signs everywhere. I guess this is the Curiosity Shop. Sand Hills Curiosity, was that the name of it?
That is it.
What an interesting place. You know what? This is the inspiration for all those curiosity shops in Radiator Springs.
Oh yeah.
That movie Cars has a lot of connection to Route 66. What a crazy place this must be.
It's cool. Hello.
How are you?
How we doing, guys?
Good, and you?
So far, so good.
That's good.
You're welcome to go any place in my building and take photos. Nothing is off limits other than my guitars, and you can take photos of those.
All right.
Yeah, are you on No Strings Attached? Huh? A Snapchat then. Maybe that's where it was.
Stroking, you'll get some.
You say what? Keep stroking and I'll get hope up in a minute. Okay.
Lots of weeds growing on Route 66 in this part of the Oklahoma-Texas border area. Oh, we are now in Texas. Now, this is not one of the coolest old restored gas stations. This Conoco in Shamrock, Texas is an Art Deco masterpiece. This is really something. We just finished our lunch. We're down to Texas Panhandle. And we ate our lunch over by the Corvette in the sun. Our idea was to pull off the road and get under this canopy for this old abandoned gas station and get in the shade and have some lunch. But once we got over here, we discovered that not only is there shade, but there's big piles of cow manure. For some reason, people are piling cow manure up here. There's litter and trash everywhere, and what appears to be bottles full of urine. So, if you are coming through the Panhandle and you're looking for a nice shady place to have lunch, this is not it. Keep driving. Along with the Blue Whale of Catoosa, one of the most iconic and quite frankly unique roadside attractions along Route 66 is the Cadillac Ranch. Now I understand that this started out as an art project and has just blossomed. It's essentially a series of Cadillacs buried nose down in a field, and people are encouraged to bring their own cans of spray paint. And don't worry, they sell them if you don't have your own, to go and add their personal touch to whichever car or as many cars as they like. So this thing has a ton of classic art. Well, true to form, we rolled into the campsite last night about 9:30, and we were able to get the tent up, and almost immediately after getting the tent up, the wind started gusting like crazy. And this ground is just strewn with rocks, so getting the pegs into the ground without pounding mercilessly was not an option, because we're surrounded by people. So we used rocks to hold the tent down, and it did okay, but the tent was rocking and rolling all night, back and forth, sides moving in, and then the rain started, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. But we've got an absolutely beautiful campsite this morning when you can see it when it's not dark. We're at the Santa Rosa State Park in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, which is just about 10 miles off of the road. And it is a beautiful campsite. This thing, looking down over the lake, it's just really a lovely view. The sun is coming out, so the morning is going to turn out really well. The landscape is great. We had lots of wildlife when we pulled in last night. Deer, jackrabbits, coyote. It was just really lively when we pulled in. And again, what a great way to wake up. We've got our coffee made. We're ready to go. We're going to clean up get a fresh set of clothes on, and then we're going to take the old loop up through Santa Fe and stop tonight in Gallup.